they see you.
Hey, Rat World! I'm Tony Walters.
I'm Rebekah Erb.
And welcome to Spoiling Dead. All right, so last night's episode of The Walking Dead was a lot more lighthearted, I would say, than
our heart good.
episode 1.
Did our heart good. We needed this.
Yeah, it was like cleansing the palate.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so in the beginning of this episode, basically, what starts out with Morgan and Carol.
And she's on that trailer stretch thingy. What do you call it? Wagon.
Yeah. And so they're being attacked by a horde, and she's seeing these zombies as people.
Yeah.
And this is something different for her character, I feel like.
Sure, yeah.
She's always, she's had her arcs, and kind of last season she was very manipulative. She was still, like, a tough character, but she was starting to get more on the manipulative side and you know, not letting people see who she really was. But now, I think with this episode, she's starting to maybe even, she tries, but she's starting to become a little bit more human. She's starting to...
As they like to say, after all that damage, you've built up a wall, and now she's trying to get over that wall, and maybe we can start to see who she is again.
Right.
Fun fact, though, about that first sequence, they used identical twins. So one twin was the walker, then the other twin was like what Carol was seeing. Little flashbacks, which I thought was kind of cool.
That is pretty cool. Was that something that they talked about on Talking Dead? Yeah. I watched, like, I have this thing about Talking Dead. I watch it till it goes to commercial break, and then I go to bed.
So it gets about 5 minutes.
Yeah. I get, like, whoever the first person is on the couch, they get to talk for a minute, and then they get to leave, and then I go to bed. It's like, which was the guy that played Ezekiel, and he is really
bald.
great.
Oh, yeah, he's cool.
He's bald, which, I mean, that wig looks amazing.
It makes sense now, right? There was no way that was his hair.
He did say in that sequence that he shaved his head to wear the wig because he didn't want to have
the Georgia heat.
Yeah, exactly.
You got that part, and then you went to bed.
Yeah, then I went to bed. Also, though, with his character, just jumping right into Ezekiel, when he was talking, like, everything that was coming out of his mouth, though, like, yeah, he's great.
Medieval.
But my brain was like, this guy's voice is way too familiar, so I had to pull it up on IMDb, and I was like, all right, so he plays the voice of Cyborg in Teen Titans, and that's why I know who he was.
And a few other things,
Yeah.
like voice acting.
Tons of stuff.
He was in all the Arkham video games as, like, random characters. Killer Croc was his mainstay through it. But yeah, almost every single DC animated version of Cyborg, he's the voice for it in almost everything.
Kidding.
So that's pretty amazing.
He was tailor-made for that role. Perfect then.
Yeah, and as far as live action stuff, he did, like, a lot of stuff, I think, in his, like, early career. He was doing, like, little TV show appearances here and there, but this is, like, his first, like, big role, like, live action big role.
And his very first, because he talked about it on there, his very first scene shooting whatever was with the pigs. And they didn't even call action. They just let the pigs out.
I thought that was great.
And they're doing their thing. And he, like, turned over. He's like, this is it. Like, I'm in it. Like, and got really excited. And it's cool because he's eccentric on the show. And then he is very eccentric off, like, the show, too. Like, just himself he was interesting. But...
We don't have anybody moderating the camera today, so it's just me messing around with
it. Happy Halloween, everybody, by the way.
Yeah, trick or treat.
Yeah. Well, those. Let's back up here to Carol's kind of introduction to the kingdom.
Holy
that was
cow.
weird at first. That was really, really weird because we've seen her play that role when they came into Alexandria, doing, like, the Susie Homemaker, mask. And then at first, it just seemed like, that's a little over the top, Carol. Like, I know you're trying to put on a mask.
When she was talking to Ezekiel?
Yeah,
Well, I think that it was her putting on her mask and doing her thing, but it was also,
a true
Well,
reaction.
it was her embodiment of the audience's reaction to like, what the heck are we seeing right here?
I-
Like this is completely out of place.
Yeah.
Ironically, I had the same exact expression as she did, as she was sitting there watching him, and I'm just watching it. You know, and I just start to giggle, basically, you know, because it's so silly and over the top, and you know what she's thinking, like, holy cow, is this guy serious?
Yeah.
And that's, of course, she knows it's all just craziness, but holy, it was great. It was great. I loved it.
And what I really, really like about this show is it seems very likely, except for the zombie part, of course, but the human interaction, the human, like, what they deal with is so realistic. And then when I would see commercials for this upcoming season, I'm like, there's a tiger. Like, really? There's
Yeah,
a
it's like
tiger.
everything's really grounded in reality, and this.
And
Yeah,
why
and
didn't
it
Morgan tell
really-
her that first? Like, oh yeah, by the way, he has a tiger. Like, he
Like,
just
how
kind
do
of
you
show
forget
up.
that?
Here
How
you
do you-
go. It's my pet tiger. It's,
Yeah.
I just thought he'd mention that, right?
Yeah. And it's just crazy.
Thanks, Morgan.
This whole...
Because he was saving it for the audience.
Okay, there you go.
Which is true. I mean, we have Tony here thinking professionally about it, you know.
He waited because in the writing it told him to.
Okay, well, that makes more sense to me.
Yeah. But I was really nervous on how they're going to play it out because, you know, yes, it's a comic book, but there hasn't been really a comic book feel this whole time.
Except for Abraham.
I would say Abraham is very much a comic book
Yes.
character.
But I was like, man, is this really going to, like, not ruin the feeling, but kind of, like,
Right.
you know, turn it to where it's a little sour?
Well, that's why I think right off the bat we get Ezekiel's backstory.
Oh, for
because
sure.
Instead of stringing it
Instead
out.
of stringing
that
it
was
out.
a good move on their part.
Because it levels us.
You might have
know?
lost some people if they didn't.
Right,
do
if he
it.
would have just kept on this whole king act,
Yeah,
and the whole time you're just like, what
Like,
is
does
going
this guy
on?
really think he's this medieval king?
Right.
Come on, surely not.
Yeah.
Which leads me to think, because in the comic book, you know, there's a romance between Michonne and King Ezekiel. Well, you know, with the Rick and Michonne thing going on, I think that's unlikely. But in the comic book...
My bad. All right.
And then in the comic book, you know, because the whole time Michonne's like, oh, like, I don't think highly of you, like, you are too much. And where they had a moment and kind of started that romance was when he just, like, opened up to her and showed her the side that he is now showing Carol. So now I'm wondering, is there going to be a King Ezekiel Carol romance?
You
Is
certainly got
where
that
they're
vibe,
going?
you know.
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure.
definitely got that
He
vibe.
has a thing for Carol, calling her fair maiden.
Oh yeah, when
you know.
just calling his crap out too. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
like his words were "don't bullshit a bullshitter."
And he,
Right.
and
And
he
I thought
caught
that really-
her
yeah.
mask right
Yeah.
away. Like,
They
he
knew each other
knew.
right
Oh,
away.
Yeah.
And that's why he opened up to her, was because
Like, hey,
they
this
both
is,
wear masks.
right. This is someone exactly like me. I get you. So I think that's why it was so important for him to find a way to keep her around, like the whole go but don't
Right,
go
that-
thing.
yeah.
And the
Yeah.
pomegranate thing too.
Right.
You know,
Well,
it was like a meaning.
Yeah, we were kind of discussing that earlier. The sweet on the inside.
The Carol symbolization.
Yeah. But I lost my train of thought now. That's
Sorry.
all right.
Well, I think we were talking about how Carol is worth the work that it is to get to the sweetness.
Right.
You know, because what are they, bitter on the outside?
Yeah.
I've never actually eaten a pomegranate.
Neither have I.
But that's
That's
what
what
I,
they said.
that's
Really
what I
good.
hear, is that the inside is real good, but the outside is, you know, painful to get through. So that's probably a very good representation of King Ezekiel himself, but then also Carol, you know, because he's clearly already beginning to put in that work to try and, you know, open up to her and vice versa.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
happened?
Nothing happened.
Gotcha.
Just me just messing with stuff.
Okay.
I was just like trying to make it easier for myself.
Laura!
I'm sorry.
When you're watching this.
Yeah. All right, so we basically so what are you guys' overall, how do you feel about King Ezekiel? Do you like his
absolutely love
character?
him. I absolutely, completely, I'm already hooked.
He is
Already
going to be a great new addition to the cast, because what he's going to do is open up a larger arc for Carol. You know, you started to think, okay, maybe Carol has ran her course on the show, time for her to exit stage left.
Right.
You know, get on out of here. But
Right, that's how I was feeling when we
right. But now
we
well,
started
yeah,
the
because you
season.
thought
I thought she was gonna die,
it
and
was
then
her
I
time.
forgot she
But
wasn't there.
what's- Yeah, but what he's going to do is bring her all back around and make things neat for her. You know, the other thing I wanted to bring up how interesting is it that the Saviors have their claws into every single one of these groups?
Yeah.
I mean, because Rick's group is all the way over here, and
Right.
the Kingdom is all the way somewhere else.
Right, but in the last season, they said that there were a lot more colonies around here than they knew, and they
Right.
wanted to start trading.
Yeah.
So we got the sense then that there was more, but then we met like the hilltop,
Yeah.
and I think that's it, right?
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
it.
the
And
Hilltop's
the Hilltop,
Because
and then
Jesus
Negan's.
that told them,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
your
and then
world's about to
Negan's
open
crew.
up.
Like
Yeah.
those are the two groups that we kind of met. But now we've been introduced to the Kingdom, and that's the thing too about King Ezekiel is he is pretty much Negan's polar opposite.
Oh, for
They're
sure.
both eccentric characters
putting on a show.
Right.
but King Ezekiel, his is all about hope and like wanting people to live. That's why he's going that's why he's trying to help Carol so much. That's why he's having Morgan train Benjamin
Right.
to fight with the bow staff, and also because I think he feels guilty because he's responsible for killing Benjamin's father.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot to learn with these characters. King Ezekiel certainly, but then also Negan, just to unfold who he is at the core. Because like you said, all we're seeing is a mask right here. Because that's not all there is to Negan.
Right.
So how long is it going to take for us to finally start to see that? Like, look all the way back to the governor. There was a lot more to him than just the guy that wanted to, loot and pillage and take over.
But I think that this is the first, like, with the governor, the governor was, like, just kind of a douche. Like, I don't know, I never really found his character to be that all, like,
Well, he couldn't
really
hold it
interesting.
together the whole time.
Right.
He cracked. He couldn't take that pressure.
Like, I think that Negan is a character that can outlast the show almost.
He's known his purpose from the moment this started.
Yeah.
Whereas all the other ones had to question themselves and go through a little crisis. I feel like he's the guy who knew exactly what he was trying to do, and he
for
had
sure.
complete conviction towards
And
it.
I don't think he went. I don't think he cracked.
No,
you
yeah,
know, I
exactly,
think that he
exactly.
just from the get go, whatever happened to him, he was just able to handle everything, and now we have this crazy Negan guy.
Well, we
figuring out
well
this
we
deal.
perceive it as crazy to us, but I'd be willing to bet he's the most sane guy there is on the show. He's true to his purpose, and he knows exactly what he needs to do, and that's debatably the most dangerous, but also courageous at the same time. Because he's sticking to his principles, and he knows what he feels is right, and that's what he's going to do.
Right. Yeah. Well, also, or side note, I guess, if you guys are ever curious, I did read ahead, and I know what happens to his character now, but...
Well, okay. I have not read the comics.
Yeah.
And,
I read far
one
enough in
day.
the comics that I was actually, like, really curious, like, what happens in the comics.
You did it.
So you have the leg up.
I had to catch up.
Oh.
So, yeah. But it's exciting. The stuff that happens is exciting.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Like, I like the
Cheater.
direction they took it. I'm sorry. All right. So, you with all your notes. Where we at?
Well, there's not a whole lot. I mean, I have a little.
Yeah, it wasn't a super heavy episode that
Yeah.
had a lot of, there weren't a lot of underlying principles and things like that.
Yeah.
There just wasn't a lot of stuff
And-
that happened.
And
Right.
it was perfect. We needed to take a break. Our minds and our hearts needed to take a break. I mean, as the creators of this, they really knew the audience. After something so heavy, you need something a little light to keep us intrigued and wanting more and not leaving like
Right.
a whole bunch of people threatened to,
Yeah,
that
well-
first episode.
I talked to a couple people about it today, and a couple of responses that I got was just that the episode was slow. And that was something that I personally was like a little worried about, like how, when you start this season off like with a bang, and like, what happens when the show slows down. But watching last night's episode, I didn't feel that way watching it. It was slow, yes, but I felt like it needed to be slow. But also for me, I thought it's the funniest episode, I think, out of The Walking Dead that has ever even happened. Like, nobody smiles on this show.
Right?
And last
That's
night
a
we
very
got
good point.
smiles.
Jerry!
Is that his name?
I love Jerry.
the,
He's like, I'll be in hollering range.
Him and
Like,
Sheba.
oh,
Yeah.
yes. And they did wonderful on Shiva. Like,
yeah.
she
Yeah.
looks amazing with, like, the CGI and, like, the animatronics or whatever.
It's just CGI. She's not there.
No, they had animatronics.
Do they?
Yeah, I want to believe she's there. So either way, I
Because
want
here's
to
the
believe.
thing, I think they did it that way to have that more realistic,
Yeah.
you know, because if it was just CGI, it wouldn't have fit. So they have, basically it's like just her head. That's the animatronic. And then they put in everything else. I know for a fact. I know for a fact.
I'll look it up.
Not only did I look it up beforehand,
I know, they showed,
but I saw it on Talking Dead
I heard
too.
on Talking Dead, they were like, we're gonna have this thing later on too, behind the scenes of the thing. But
So
I just went to sleep.
So the episode probably wouldn't feel so slow if we were binge watching it, but the thing we have to keep in perspective is we watch it and then don't see anything for a week.
Right, and then
so it's like, come on, I'm on pins and needles, give me something.
Everybody also like, after what happened last week, you want to know what's happening with Rick's group.
And that just made it that much worse. So watch next week. They're not going to show us Rick either.
I don't think so. I think next week you're gonna get Negan and Daryl. They're gonna Negan's group and it's gonna be Daryl.
Yeah,
because
it's the well and then the cell.
You
next
got it,
week.
buddy.
Yes.
And they even said like
Did
in a
you
sneak
look ahead?
peek. Just a little bit.
Just a little peek.
Just the title. Just the title.
Okay.
But really like.
Questions.
As much as I love Rick's group, there's so much to me going on in this episode that it was like, okay, not worrying about them. Like, I really wasn't too worried about them.
I just didn't want to know what was going on with them. Just because I was just like, like, give us a break from all that drama.
I don't want to see them. It's too much.
Yeah. Let them have a day to recoup. Although, when we come back, I wonder, too, when we come back, are we going to come back
probably.
Right at
I want to
their-
pretend Glenn's still alive.
I think it's going to be Negan's group next week, and then the following week, it's going to be like maybe bounce back and forth between Rick and then Maggie going to Hilltop and trying to get better with Sasha.
Her. Yeah, they're all separate.
Yeah.
Sasha took Maggie to Hilltop.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're pulling a season. Was it season 5 when they group split up?
Yeah, when they left the prison. But I'm curious on Carol's reaction because Carol and Morgan don't know what's going on back home.
Right, and that's an underlying tone I feel like throughout the entire episode is we all know what happened and they still don't, and it's like so sad because
Carol wasn't there to save him this time. Remember the last time Carol showed up in the last moment, saved everybody.
And I think this is going to be a thing to try and find that balance between I can't kill anymore, so I'm going to leave, and needing to kill because she's going to feel guilty that she left, I feel like. You know what I mean?
Probably.
Like, I left and I could have helped them in the situation.
That raises a great point. Did you see the turn of character with Morgan? How he's kind of referencing that, maybe I changed my mind. He goes from a guy who wouldn't kill, he just killed his first guy. He made it seem pretty clear that he's ready to kill again.
Right.
I think
there was that
he's
scene
not out looking for it.
There was a scene where he pulled out the gun and then he looked at it and put it away.
Yeah.
That was the vibe I got from him, though, was that he's no longer going to be on that side of I refuse to kill people.
Yeah.
And I also think, and I don't know for sure, but I just got this from the whole little mailbox thing where he flipped it up. So that's him. That's the flag. Like, okay, I have a way back. This is, back to Rick's group. But then he shut it when he left Carol there. I think he's going to stay in the kingdom. I don't think he's going to go back to Rick's group. I think he now has a purpose at the kingdom with Ben and all of this. That I think that's just him, like, putting the flag down. Like, he's staying. I don't know. Did you guys get anything?
Well, was there a deeper symbolization with that flag?
That's what I thought that.
Yeah, if there was, I certainly missed it. It went over my head if there was.
Yeah, I like that sounds like when he did it to me. When he did it, I just thought it was just because Carol was moving in. Yeah. So he was just like.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I thought it was just that
Maybe
simple.
I'm just like thinking too much into it.
No, it could very well be that he has made up his mind and he's gonna stay at the kingdom for at least a while. But because they all trade and stuff, maybe if they need to go and make contact with somebody, like maybe they send Morgan because he already knows them, so he's the,
How long is it until Morgan convinces that group to team up with Rick?
I think that...
Will that even come?
Oh, for sure,
I think that's definitely going to come.
Yeah. It's in the works.
I think that it's going to be everybody who Negan's messing with is going to have to get together to end up taking him out. So, and because right now, and all these groups too, don't really seem to be fighters, so it's going to be...
You're right. Well, that's why we're training young Benjamin.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, we got
yeah.
to teach him to fight, teach him the
Yeah.
ways, and Morgan's perfect for that. A guy with good morals. You know, before he didn't want to kill anybody, but and they even referenced that at the middle of the episode was, you know, why did you bring me in with knowing nothing about me? Well, you know, he shot it to him pretty straight. You know, you killed the saviors because they were trying to kill your friend. That right there was a good enough reason. It should tell you he clearly isn't happy with his deal with the saviors.
Right.
And then when you saw the pig trade go on, you definitely got that idea. You know, it was pretty clear there.
Yeah. Yeah. How did you feel about that scene? How did you feel about that scene too, of them trading the pigs with the saviors, and like how all that like went down?
I
and
think
they fed
there's
him.
more to it. I don't think that he just snapped. That's like that one Richard, isn't it Richard?
Well, yeah, of course, this wasn't their first time trading. you
Yeah.
know,
Right.
So I'm sure they've probably
Yeah.
gotten
Trading.
on each other's trading. They've
Yeah.
gotten on each other's nerves probably many times by now.
Yeah.
And this probably isn't even his first time hitting him.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
if I had to guess, but look at the control.
Right.
that-
So do you think that they're just like having those pigs eat off the walkers like haha like you're eating nasty food, or do you think they're trying to like slowly poison them? Like is that
I don't-
possible?
I don't think so. I think that
It's already in them.
no, I think that so far in the show, I mean, animals are pretty much immune to the virus.
Right.
So I don't think, and pigs will eat anything and everything.
for
They do
sure.
anyways,
So-
yeah.
I honestly think they don't want to waste their food on these pigs since they're just giving them to the saviors. So they're just fattening them up because they probably had complaints. Because he even said, I think these ones look bigger
These
than
ones
the
look
ones
bigger
last
than
one.
the last ones.
that
So
makes
it's
sense.
kinda
And that's
two-
a
it's
simple
two-
thing. Sometimes
right.
it's a simple.
It's two birds with one stone. You know, it's we get rid of some of the walkers, and at the same time we fatten them up and make you happy.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. I questioned that too. I thought, oh man, like, is this gonna make them sick to eat these pigs?
I was
or...
thinking that too, and then what you had just came to, you know, they ate Bob, who was infected.
I was thinking
Right.
the same
Yeah.
thing, but the virus is in all of them too. So
Right.
maybe it's the
It's
same.
in-
Like if it's digested.
Well, I
don't
think.
know.
Well, even if you get. Well, I mean, I guess if you get bit. I don't know, because if
It's supposed to
they
make
get
us
blood in their
wonder.
face and their eyes and their mouth all the time, it doesn't
Yeah, it
matter.
doesn't bother.
Like
Yeah.
nobody's
Does that mean
changing
like
from
I've always
that.
wondered like scratching? Does that change them too?
No, I think
so.
that
I think
it's.
just bites.
I think it's clearly. Yeah, I think it's just bites and it's death, and that's something that still hasn't been addressed on the
They're
show.
leaving it open.
Like it was something that was addressed in season 1.
They need wiggle room.
and they've just left it
Yeah.
open forever. Like they got into the science of it in the first season,
Right.
and then was just like, eh.
Well, they decided they needed that extra room in
Yeah.
case something came up.
Because I don't know. I'm trying to remember if that's even in the comics where they get to the science of it. Because I don't think they do in the comics. I think that they've always just kind of
It's
left
better
it.
left unsaid.
Yeah.
But
Leave
then
me
it
the
helps
mystery.
them like to pull something if they're kind of like having a trouble like carrying the story. Then
Right.
like, oh, we can just pick this up and
Right. I
yeah,
just.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. When they start getting into the science of it is when you start to
Done.
Well, you just start to like as an audience member be like, well, in this episode they said that they only change if this, but in here we're doing it a little different, like because just continuity starts to get.
Have
really
you
messed
seen
up when
all
you
the
start getting
people
to
who
it.
are breaking it down, trying to say how much longer the walkers can theoretically last? And
I'm
things like
I'm
that?
one of those
Yeah.
people.
Oh no!
Yeah,
You're
he
one of
is.
them.
Because
I'm
he's
one of those
making that
people.
zombie movie, and it was like
boy.
2 weeks.
Well, I was
'cause he
just
did
it just
research.
depends. It just depends on the type of zombies they are. If they were truly dead and decaying, then it would only take so long. But because they are infected with this virus, their bodies decay slower than what an average
Their
human
metabolism
would.
just goes to a crawl.
And they're constantly eating. So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
They
they're-
eat wildlife. They
they're
probably
fine.
even eat grass.
It's
we
just
don't
when you
know.
see the ones that are
They'll just eat anything.
great.
like have
Yeah.
total bone and stuff
What's he
exposed
doing?
that gets a little annoying because you're like, well, there's no muscle to move that. Whatever.
Haven't you ever seen a skeleton work? Come
The
on.
thing that drives me nuts about the show is just that they're still driving everywhere, and that's one of the ones that bugs me a lot. I think.
Maybe they've began making fuel now.
Well, clearly Rick's group hasn't. But
how long
that
does-
Honda gets really good gas mileage.
There you go. Because it's been like what 2 years?
It's got to have been more than that.
A little 2.5. I'm thinking 2.5.
I'm not.
Because
Yeah.
even Ben was like a year ago, my dad died.
Right. Well,
you
it's
know, so.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm
And the
just
one
curious
season,
on
I think
that
season
aspect.
5 is like the second half of season 5 is only the span of like a week.
Right.
You know, it depends. It depends if you count it down. I'm not really sure.
We're
Well,
I just know
I
that-
mean, there was
into it.
time for
We're
Lori to
into it.
get pregnant, but we were already at like a year in at that point, right? A year or two in at that point.
Oh yeah, yeah, and she's not even.
Well-
she's not very far along either.
Kinda. She was pregnant when the show started.
Was
She was
she?
already pregnant with Shane's kid. That was kind of the big, or like possibly Shane's kid.
Well-
She didn't know who
Oh.
it was.
that's
Oh,
right.
you said Lori. I heard
Yeah,
Maggie.
yeah, Lori.
Yeah.
Trying to do a
Yeah.
timeline on it.
I think we're getting a little sidetracked though.
We are.
Sorry.
So, I do want to say one thing though. Carol's little thing, you know, she's rolling around in her wheelchair,
Wasn't that
and then her
precious?
arm, like Carol, you dog. I enjoyed that, and
Yeah,
cobbler. There's lunch cobbler too.
Cobbler for every meal. Her
I
Su-
can't believe it. We ate possum out there, which they really did. So I
Susie
mean-
Homemaker has worked on everybody except
Yeah.
Ezekiel.
Oh,
Literally
for sure.
everyone.
Yeah.
Right.
Crazy.
And I love that because you could tell
Mm-hmm.
that he did not. I know we've been through this before, but you could see it on his face. Like,
That's why he's going to add such a neat dimension because
Mm-hmm.
these intelligent characters can really bring a lot to the table, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what we tend to overlook sometimes. You know,
Right.
that's why Negan will be so fun. That's why Ezekiel will be so fun.
yeah. Yeah, as the episode progressed, like right when his character was introduced, I just laughed a lot just because I was like, what is this guy? Like I knew from the previews that this guy was going to have Tiger and like all this stuff.
I didn't know anything about him because
No.
of course I haven't read the comics, you know.
Yeah.
So it was just dumped on me like, oh, what is this? So that's why I was literally having the same expression Carol
Yeah,
was like, oh, what is
yeah.
this dude? Is he serious?
Yeah.
Well, I like right from his character introduction, and then the more his
throw
character
fireballs.
you get to learn from his character throughout the whole
Mm-hmm.
time, like the more you learn about his character, the more and more as it went on, I just liked him, and more and more
Me
as
too,
it went
me
on.
too. I just love his medieval act that he's got going on. Like
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for like medieval
I-
and fantasy and everything.
As I was watching it, I was like, Becca's loving this.
Yes,
Like that's what I was
and
thinking.
it was the perfect thing because my heart was broken last week, and then I just had a weekend of LARPing, and then I get this episode. I'm like, yeah, like this is fun. Like
Everybody
go
with their,
Ezekiel.
like, Athletic gear armor
Yes.
on.
Oh my gosh! And when they rode in, this is like more like nerdy stuff. When they rode in, saving Morgan and Carol, like in the first bit, totally reminded me of like Rohan riding in to like kill all the orcs on their horses.
Lord of the
Lord
Rings.
of the Rings. That's
Sorry.
it, yeah.
Sorry.
It was just really, really cool. And they are obviously like,
Yeah.
it's, they're obviously a badass group. Like they got their gear on.
If they
and
can
their
say it on
horses.
TV, you can say it on here.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's true.
That was that was the
Yeah,
bullshit.
PG-13.
Yeah.
You get some language
Okay.
in there.
No
Okay.
F bombs,
You get one.
Tony.
I got the one in the last episode. You get one in a PG-13 rating.
Oh.
But yeah, I genuinely liked everything about this episode. It was fun for me. Something that we really needed.
Yeah, I agree.
I would go with that too.
All right. Well, I think that's going to conclude this episode unless you guys have anything else.
I do.
Yeah?
I mean,
There's more.
something like just random and whatever. There's another word added on
Yes.
what they're called. Like, you know, they're geeks, biters, walkers.
What did they call them?
Wasted.
Was it the people from the kingdom that called them?
calls them the
Ah,
wasted.
it's always the new group.
Yeah,
them
right,
the
right.
wasted.
It was
Okay.
just kind of fun to see, like, after
How many
so
times
long.
they can not call them zombies?
Right.
They haven't
not
yet,
just
have
that,
they?
No,
but
they
it's
not on
been
the
a
show.
long
Are they doing that on
time.
purpose?
In the comics, they call them zombies.
Are they
but
doing
on
that
the
on
show,
purpose
they-
on the
Yeah,
show?
on the
Oh,
show
I
they
didn't
haven't.
realize that.
I wonder why.
It was just a little.
Just to be silly.
Somebody thought it
like
was gonna
it
be funny
that
to do
way.
that in the
I-
first season.
Let's call them
I like it
anything
that
but
way.
zombies.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's been a long time since we've heard another phrase for them,
It's just
so it
walkers
was
all the time,
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, and Kirkman actually, when he was selling the show, like trying to get a network to pick up the show, one of the networks that initially grabbed onto it wanted to do the show without zombies.
I heard that they wanted it with aliens.
With
Is there any
aliens?
truth to that?
The thing that I just watched an interview with him, and he was saying that he didn't say that they wanted aliens. He said that he wanted to do it without zombies altogether and just have it be like
The
like
end
just
of the world.
yeah, just a post-apocalyptic
yeah.
show, because zombies were on the downswing basically at the time that they.
I guess
show.
they proved that wrong, didn't
Oh,
they?
for
Yeah, they
sure,
brought zombies
yeah,
back
yeah.
with a pretty big force there.
Yeah, no
Yeah, I'd
kidding.
say so.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Is there anything else on the agenda? Do we have any questions?
Any questions?
Those are always fun.
Nope.
Comments?
We have a hello. Well, it's a hi from Jesus
Oh, hello, Jesus.
Hi, Jesus. Is it really Jesus?
or Jesus.
Jesus is with us right now.
Oh, like from Hilltop.
Yeah, feels good, right?
Yeah.
He's looking over you.
Yeah. All right, so I think that's it.
All right.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us on this week's episode of Spoiling Dead, and we'll catch you guys next week. Is there anything you guys want to plug before we leave? Your Instagrams or?
I don't have Instagram. Is that weird?
No, that's
I feel like normal people do.
She just got one.
Yeah.
I did.
don't have a Twitter. I don't have
It's
Twitter
just-
either, though.
It's basically all of my nerdy stuff that I do.
So you just post stuff to it?
Yeah. So it's Geeky LARP Chick 89. So
Yeah, and you can follow Rad Entertainment at Rad Entertain on Instagram and Twitter, and we're on Facebook. And you can follow me at TonyWalters_. So, all right, thanks for joining us this week, and we'll see you guys next Monday at 7 o'clock.
We'll be there.